Welcome to Mid-Season, where we watch a one-season show that was kind of mid. I'm Sandile.
And I'm Fadzai.
And we're back with our second installment of this mid-season on The Secret Circle, recapping episodes 3 and 4, which are respectively called Loner and Heather. And
Heathers!
Wait, which Heather are you going for?
I'm thinking of the Heathers, the movie.
Oh, yes, finally! Because you always reference Conan Gray's Heather, and I'm like, I always go for the musical Heather.
I only reference Conan Gray's Heather for that specific situation of which we shall not speak.
Okay, fair enough. That's true, which has come up a number of times recently,
yes.
so that's fair.
I had some corrections for things that I said that were wrong. I don't know if you had any corrections.
From the episode we just recorded? Oh, God. Okay, yeah, go for it.
Something in my soul was like, I don't think that was right. And I went back and I checked. So firstly, you were correct. Cassie does indeed find her family's Book of Shadows at the end of episode 1, along with the letter.
That feels right.
My apologies.
No, yeah.
Second, the conversation where Faye says to Diana, no, we didn't agree to anything. You said it, and we just nodded, is actually not about binding the circle. It's in episode 1, and they're talking about taking it slow with bringing Cassie into the fold in general, because at this point they haven't yet told her she's a witch. Yes.
Which only furthers the idea of just like needlessly aggressive Faye. It's just like, why do you have to rush this process? There's no urgency here. Oh my God.
My third and final, well, it's not a correction, it's just a note, something I had missed. Our first scene with Nick and Melissa in bed, post-hookup, he's trying to like hurry her up and get her like dressed so she can leave. He explicitly tells her, my aunt is a Jesus freak. So I guess he does live with an aunt who is his legal guardian.
Right. Yes. Okay. Not a Matt situation. Mm-hmm. He is in fact taken care of. I mean, preferable, certainly. Well then. With those notes and corrections, I guess we'll go into episode 3, Loner, the chief conflict of which being this fisherman hottie named Zachary Lawson, who shows up and starts being weird.
I was like, I can tell I've grown up from the first time that I watched this episode, because I was like, oh, he kind of fine. I think
right?
I was too young the first time.
It's not the main characters, it's the adults in the show.
Now I'm looking at the parents and I'm like, oh,
hello, Miss Chamberlain. You're looking very ravishing today. But yeah, Zachary Lawson meets Cassie and then begins accosting her friends, the parents, just being like, I know what's going on, and what y'all did 16 years ago, I know the truth. And it's like, okay, what's going on? It's a loose conflict for the kids because they're like, who's this weirdo chasing us? And what is the mystery of the boat fire from 16 years ago? For the parents, it's, oh God, it's Zachary who we knew 16 years ago. He's going to expose the truth about the boat fire. Then there's also Logan Browning, who's still here, potentially maybe remembering that Faye was involved in her horrible accident. She is now wearing a sling, I believe, which is crazy given that she cracked her head open on her arm, but I guess you can have multiple injuries.
Listen, the crystal has limited power, so Miss Principal Dawn Chamberlain was like, I'm gonna use the crystal to heal the lethal injury, not the broken arm.
A broken arm is actually a rite of passage as an American teenager, so she just needs to rub some dirt on it and toughen up. Yeah, I mean, opening problem already, just came off the prior episode having bound the circle, and as we discover, I was surprised to see that they didn't know, because it seems like a foregone conclusion to me after the fact, but they were apparently unaware that if you bind the circle, they lose their individual magic entirely and can only do magic in tandem.
And I was also confused because the dialogue in episode 2 suggests they know this, because Faye keeps saying, I don't want to have to be bound to this group, and if we're bound, then we lose our I don't know if she says lose our individual magic, but she says something to the effect of like, yeah, we won't be able to like exist without each other magically. And then suddenly episode 3, she's shocked, and I'm like, don't act shocked.
It's like, oh my God, my magic's gone. Why is this happening? It's like, wasn't that the expected outcome?
Because she and Diana even have a conversation where Diana's like, yeah, but then we'll be stronger as a group, and I think that's better for us. Cut to episode 3, and Diana's like, yeah, I didn't know that was gonna happen. I'm sorry, but
it's like, didn't we talk about this? I'm so confused. The most logical thing I can think of is that maybe the discussion they were having was that they wouldn't have this wild, uncontrollable power that they were seeing in the first and second episodes, like starting a storm, throwing someone, whatever. Maybe they thought their power would be limited. Like, Faye was like, oh, I'm gonna lose my big feats, but like, surely I'll be able to unlock a lock, as she attempts to in the episode and is unable to by herself. Which, here's another point. I get that not being able to magically unlock your lock sucks, I guess. But does she really not know her own combination?
I think...
Like, how long are you gonna spend yanking that thing until you actually open your lock?
I think the locks might be defective, because when Cassie was trying to open hers in episode 1, she also couldn't open it, and she just left the principal's office. She probably had it written on a piece of paper. So I think, Faye, maybe go to your mom, the principal, and be like, Mom, we gotta do something about these lockers.
Like, I get we're a public school, but you've got some sway. Let's get some funding here. Let's speak to Diana's dad is on the city council, for God's sake. Somebody pull something here. That's wild. That's wild.
Lock, unlock. My favorite spell.
Lock, unlock. Even that doesn't work. What a shame. So that's Faye's conflict, which will become a general conflict for the group as, like, more dangers seem to be coming through. Like Cassie's mom said in a letter, they will come after you for your power. And now it's like, oh, I guess now that I'm bound to this circle, if I'm by myself, I'm just some person. And it means nothing that I'm a witch. I could die. So...
Which is crazy.
Tough times.
I think in the immediate aftermath of this scene, Charles is just visiting Dawn at school to have their shady meetings.
Oh, God.
Thinking their children won't notice them skulking around, which they immediately do.
Because they're teenagers. And it is weird to see your parent anywhere they shouldn't be.
He comes out of... Because what do they discuss in the office? I think he tells them, oh, yeah, for now, I've moved your dead father-in-law, who you murdered. I've moved his body to... I think he has not buried it. He put it somewhere, like in a boathouse or something.
Yeah, I think he took him to the lake house so that it's like, if he's ever... He said, I've moved him so that nobody will find him. But I thought it was going to be like, well, if someone finds him at a lake house, they'll think he had a heart attack, like Dawn was saying.
I don't know if at this point they know that Zachary is in town.
No. That
okay.
is at the boat house after the school day.
I guess they go out, and then that's when Diana sees him and is like, Dad, what are you doing here? He's like, well, you know I do legal work finances. For the school. And then she's like, I don't know, that seems a little odd.
Yeah. Seems strange to come in for that on a random Tuesday morning, but okay.
And then he has to be like, okay, me and Principal Chamberlain, we've like been seeing each other, like hanging out. It's nothing serious yet. It's just, you know. And she's like, oh, that's cool, Dad.
We're in a little situationship. It's 2013. You don't know what that is yet.
And she's so sweet. She's like, listen, love that for you. She doesn't even talk about how the fact that she's not the biggest fan of Faye Chamberlain.
No, she said, I will work through that. Baby girl, you need to be happy, and you can be happy with that gorgeous principal. I love that for Diana. Diana's really great.
She's such a sweet girl.
Such a mismatch, though, Charles and Dawn. I can't imagine those two dating in any capacity. I quite like that their relationship is so utilitarian. I can't remember if it ever becomes anything more later in the season. I will be disappointed if that's the case.
When he tells her the lie that he's had to come up with, she certainly seems a bit like, oh, what? And then she's like, and then there's like a moment where she's like, oh,
and you think they believe that? That was funny. But yes, after that day, later in the afternoon at the boathouse, Cassie's probably having some sort of conversation with Adam about how they shouldn't be cheating on Diana. And then
that
when
was
she
the other
tries to
thing.
leave...
That was the other thing. I did forget one more correction. Diana, at the end of episode 2, does speak to Cassie.
Of 2?
End of episode 2? I think it's episode 2, yeah. It might be partway through episode 2.
Wow, that's so fast.
No, sorry. It's at the end of episode 1. She says to Adam, do I need to be worried about you and Cassie? So she immediately clocks it and addresses it. And
she starts with Adam, which is the correct process.
Yes,
you start with your boyfriend, who is the one in the committed relationship.
She is the first woman in all of fiction to do this. No one else does this with their partners. They always go to the other person. First woman, first
singing
teen,
The Boy Is Mine while they're smashing the other girl's cards. Like, who's the actual problem here, my girl? It's not your fault. It's the patriarchy.
And then in episode 2, I don't think it's at the end, but at some point in episode 2, she speaks to Cassie and she's like, so what's going on with you and Adam? And Cassie's like, no, nothing.
It's nothing.
Cassie, who also, unlike a lot of
have
protagonists in her
nothing to
position, has
worry
already
about.
spoken to Adam and been like, bruh, I can see something's going on here. I think it's a little odd. Like, can we not? Because I actually do like Diana and respect her and I don't want to cause anything. Whereas Adam's like, what? Us? Who almost kissed in episode 1? What are you talking about? No, there's nothing
What are you
weird.
talking about? Shaman Diana says, because he's like, why would you ask me that? And Diana's like, because I'm insecure. And I'm like, no, Diana, it's because you have excellent intuition. And he's a lying man.
After that conversation, almost as if to be like, I'm super comfortable, she actually, I think she tells Adam to give Cassie a lift at some point. Whereas before, it was just always conveniently that he had to give her a lift. This time she's like, yeah, take Cassie. And I was like, oh,
Take
okay,
Cassie.
girl. Okay, I guess.
It's very Caroline Forbes, the most secure woman in the world.
Whereas previously, I think after she had the conversation with Adam, there was a moment where she was like, I'll drive Cassie home. And he's like, no, you don't have to. And she's like, no, I feel better getting her there. And I'm like, I feel like she's doing this so much you can't. But once she speaks to Cassie, and Cassie's like, no, there's nothing going on. I promise you, I would never want to come between you. And then she's like, okay, I hope so, because I really like you and I want to be your
That's great,
friend. And
because I love him.
And I love Adam. I really do. And Cassie's like, cool. And then after
when
that,
she says she wants to be friends, there's an energy behind it that I'm just like, if this were another universe, I feel like there'd be something to be had here, but it's fine.
she said, Cassie, we saw you from across the bar and we really did your
We
vibe."
liked your vibe. Saw so many problems. But yes, that is when Cassie is run into by PNW 9 Zachary Lawson, who is clearly aware of who Cassie is, sees by her resemblance. When she acknowledges that Amelia Blake was her mother and that she has died, Zachary is a little bit alarmed by this and is like, and you came back here? Even though it was against her wishes? And Cassie's like, yeah, she didn't have the best time in the town, but my grandma's here. And he's like, so you're staying? And immediately there's like a cold alarm that's like going off that's just like, okay, buddy, I think it's time you go home. I can't remember if someone intercepts or if Cassie just escapes the situation.
No,
then
he
out
starts
in the
to-
courtyard. Yeah.
Oh, is it out in the courtyard later on?
Yeah, I think it's out when she's trying to get to a car that he then actually attacks her.
Oh my god. Zachary?
I think he attacks her.
Oh my gosh. It's always these grown-ass adults accosting kids.
Truly. And again, because they have no magic by themselves, she can't defend herself. But Diana comes running in, and together with their
motises
shared
him.
magic, they throw him off.
Yes.
It is funny that, like, because they call a circle meeting, of course, in the house in the woods. Diana is very much like, see, all it took was for two of us together and with our shared intent, and like the circle magic thing is great. We did what we wanted to do. As like a volley back to Faye earlier, accosting her about the fact that they've lost their individual magic. She's like, actually, it's a skill issue on your part. And maybe if you were nicer to the people in the circle, you'd have somebody to help you out, which is wild.
Speaking of Faye, she is so unimpressed. When they enter that boathouse, she's like handling a book and she's like, I actually had to move it with my hands. Can you believe? And I'm like, Faye, you're acting like you grew up with magic. Whereas I assume you've only recently started figuring this stuff out.
Within the last 6 months, maybe. Like, suddenly magic is your way of life and your cultural birthright. You feel like you've been cut off at an appendage. Girl, you had 15 years. Toughen up. And because she's so pissy about this, now she's jabbing at Melissa, because Melissa's got her, once again, her only storyline in this episode is Nick. At this point, like, maybe considering, I actually want to date him. And he's like, you said we were unserious. And I thought you cared about what Faye says. And she's like, now I don't. And it's like, okay, well, I don't know what's happening there.
Poor Melissa.
So anyway.
Apparently she also wanted them to be on the down low, because he was like, you didn't want to tell anybody we were hooking up. And she was like, yeah, because, like,
I didn't want anyone to know
people to think I was slutty. And then he's
yeah, exactly.
And then he's like, why do you not want to go to a dance with me? And she's like, because I'm feeling kind of slutty.
Oh, so she does ask him to the dance in this one, yes. And Faye's like, a dance on purpose? Ew, you disgust me.
She's
and it's
one
like,
of those
okay,
girls.
I
was
don't
like,
know what you want.
I was like, okay, Faye, so you're pretty and popular and confident, but actually engaging with your peers at school is beneath you. All right.
I don't understand her vibe. Like, at all.
What does she tell her? She says something so mean to Melissa at one point. She's like, unlike you, Melissa, I actually like myself. And I'm like, wow, this is your best friend.
This is your best friend.
This is the only person who likes you outside of being in the circle with you.
And they will, and I appreciate the attempt. They do try to do a thing with Faye in this episode and the subsequent one where it's like a mean girl secretly has a heart of gold. She's just got a rough exterior. And it's like, I think you've got to do a lot more heavy lifting in this case. It's so tough to root for Faye. If you're not specifically like a flaming homosexual who's eating up every single word she's saying, she's just very hard to root for sometimes. And I think a lot more work that I think they're probably going to do later to show that, hey, Faye actually isn't all that bad would be nice. Zachary continues to be a problem. He starts stalking people. I think most notably he stalks Faye, who is on her journey to try and figure out how to do solo magic without the circle because she's sick of this shit, which is so funny. I'm like, what precedents have you found that this is possible?
When does he run into Charles? Because he has an altercation with Charles. And then he actually kicks Charles's ass, which I was like...
It's post the Faye one, because after Charles, he goes to the dance.
Oh, okay.
I think so. Yeah. I think it's Faye encounter, which happens in the Woods house, where he's like, have you already bound the circle? And it's like, why does he know so much?
He catches her trying to do a spell, which I'm like, Faye, why are you trying to do a spell? We've established you can't do individual magic. She's holding a candle being like, air around me, grant me fire. Air around me, grant me fire. And I'm like, girl, Bonnie Bennett was lighting candles by mistake on day one.
And he walks in with her trying and failing to do the spell. I don't know what she's trying to get away with here. But she fails, of course, and she tries to throw a book at him. She throws a table at him. I do respect the antics. And she does manage to escape him. But in doing so, he is now aware that they've bound the circle, and so they individually are weaker, which means now he can make his attack.
Mm-hmm.
As you say, later, Charles and Dawn, who have now learned that Zachary is back in town, they're aware of what connection he has to Amelia Blake and the house fire and whatever. They're like, we need to sort this before it becomes a problem. So that's when Charles goes to find him on his fishing boat. Because,
oh, yes!
Yeah.
I think Dawn sends him to go talk to Charles, and she's like, just to talk. We can't kill everyone who gets in our way. And Charles is like, oh, you killed your father-in-law yesterday, and you murdered Cassie's mother to stop this whole thing. But now, whenever it's me, suddenly murder is the one line that we must not cross. If I want to drown Ethan, it's an issue. If I want to kill this guy who's stalking our kids, it's an issue. But you get to just, exercise capital punishment on whoever you want.
You get to just kill your father-in-law and elder on the off chance that he figured out what we're doing. Frankly, it's crazy they don't kill this guy now. But, fair enough, I guess. Now we have a moral code. Charles goes to, I guess, shout at him. And Zachary goes, I'm literally a fisherman. I haul heavy equipment for a living. Beats his ass significantly because Charles has no crystal. He's just a lawyer.
And in the words of the great philosopher from Armenia, Kim Kardashian, it's what she deserves.
Funny enough, Kim Kardashian, who failed the bar exam. But nonetheless, it's okay. She's going to get the Neuralink and we're all going to become machines. It's fine. So Zachary leaves his fishing boat with the proclamation, I only have to kill one of them. So, unfortunately, we cannot stand Fisherman Hottie Zachary anymore because he's about to murder a child.
Jeez.
He goes to the dance. Oh, yes. That's the Adam Cassie thing. Adam, in an attempt to dissuade this uncontrollable connection between him and Cassie, tries to pawn her off on his friend Luke, who seems to be interested in her.
To be fair, Luke approaches Adam and is like, oh, what's up with that new girl? And Adam's like, I don't know. And he's like, no, I think she could just use an ear to listen to, a shoulder to cry on. And Adam's like, okay. And at first you think that Luke is going to be one of those guys, some douche who's just trying to worm his way in. But he turns out to be just a sort of harmless himbo.
So sweet, regular high school dude that knows his worth, which I really love by the end of the episode. And I'll say, decent looking guy. You could do worse. I was like, damn, Cassie, I understand you're written in the stars or whatever, but This this PNW hunk really wants to be a date. Maybe focus up, girl.
She's barely trying. I don't even know if she rejects him initially and then later on says yes.
Because she's also trying to avoid the connection between her and Adam. Logan Browning, by the way, trying to ship the cheetahs.
Yes,
I see you, girl.
Because she ropes Cassie in to help with the dance. Also, Logan being so... It's very much that Dawn thing in the episode with Buffy finding out that Dawn has been like retconned in, but Dawn is acting weird all episode because the plot wants you to think she is in on it. Like, Logan just shows up like, I know your secret, Cassie. Cassie's like, what? It's like, I know you haven't signed up for any extracurricular activity.
Any extracurriculars. Insane thing to say. First of all, what does that mean? It's not an obligation. Secondly, how do you know that? Weirdo.
Also, why are you ominously standing watching me from a distance being like, I know your secret?
Just T-posing around the corner, ready to accuse me of having no school spirit. Okay, Logan Browning. Maybe calm down. Go sort out your arm. It's in a sling.
She ropes her into the dance, helping her at the dance. They briefly discuss Faye, I think. She's like, oh, I don't remember much from that night, but I remember Faye giving me the bitch stare and then waking up on the rocks below. And Cassie's like, well, she gives me that stare every day. Maybe I should wear a helmet.
Gas light. The light in the gas lamps is at maximum height. Cassie Blake? You're crazy for that, girl.
But by the time Luke gets to her, she's like, oh, no, I'm going to the dance with Logan, like, as a friend. Well, not Logan. Sally is that character's actual name.
Logan Browning.
But I think eventually he's able to convince her. And she's like, okay, yeah, sure. I've changed my mind about the initial rejection. I've decided to give you a shot.
Specifically after Logan clocks that she's into Adam. That she decides to go.
Logan, the cheating shipper. She's like, maybe there's trouble in paradise and it's time for you to make your move.
And maybe this is the moment where you can swoop in. Logan, be a girl's girl. That means also for the girls you don't know. Oh my God.
It's even worse at the actual dance where I don't know where Diana has gone. But the second Luke steps away to go and get Cassie, his date, a drink, Logan materializes next to Adam and Cassie, and he's like, no one's dancing, guys. Maybe if you two go dance and you start, everyone else will join in. An upbeat song is playing. The second Cassie and Adam are like, okay, I guess we have to dance. Suddenly it's a slow song. It's a slow dance. Now we have to slow dance. And I'm like, they are here with different dates, Sally. What are you doing?
She is a sinister soul. I cannot abide her antics.
And I'm like, I've never seen a single dance party where no one was dancing and then two people started to slow dance and that encouraged everyone to get onto the dance floor.
That's what I wanted to do to liven this party up, to do a very slow waltz. So that's all occurring at the dance, which is when Mr. Zachary Larson shows up, and I can't remember who he gets to first. But also simultaneously, I believe they're trying to get into the school records to figure out who he is, because Faye's been accosted by him and Cassie's been accosted by him. So they're like, we've got to lock in about this. And so they use Faye's access to her mom's records to try and figure out what is this connection between Zachary and Amelia.
I was very confused by the sequence of events because Melissa and Nick are having a chat. And then Faye comes in and she's like, I was attacked and I had no magic to defend myself. Then they go gather the rest of the group, including Cassie.
Yes.
Then Luke comes out and is like, Cassie, where are you going with the rest of these people? And she's like, no, I was getting some people to help with cleanup for the dance for Sally. And then Diana's like, ugh, this boy's here now. It's fine. Cassie, go with him. We'll handle the situation. Then they peel off to go break into, the files in Principal Chamberlain's office. But later on, when Faye runs into Nick, suddenly Nick is acting like he wasn't aware all this was going down, even though he was present and he's one of the first people she ran into. And I was like, what?
Yeah, he's like, what's going on? And it's like, you were here for that discussion.
She's like, yeah, I was attacked and he wants to get revenge because of what our parents did. And Nick is like, well, my parents are dead. And she's like, yeah, well, he wants to kill us, not them. So, and I'm like, Nick,
so your little sad boy thing is not going to cut it today. Okay, we're in trouble. Lock the hell in.
Also, just as an aside, Principal Dawn Chamberlain, you work at a school with teenagers. Among them is your own child, and everyone knows this is your child. And the password to your computer, which has school records, is your child's birthday?
That is correct.
Come on.
Wildly irresponsible security-wise. It is insane that she has not been briefed in this respect by the IT function of the school. Once again, I suppose it is a public school, and this is the sort of thing that happens. So they get into the records. Actually, it might be because they were looking at a yearbook earlier that led them to look into the school records, because they find a picture of Zachary in Cassie's mother's year, in all of their parents' year, and see that he and Amelia were friends. So it's like, okay, then what's the drama? And then they also see the two of them hanging out with this woman named Heather. Not Heather Locklear, that's an actor. What was Heather's surname? Heather Barnes. With Heather Barnes. And so in the school records, when they're looking through Zachary's like history, they're like, oh, a decent student, blah, 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 blah. And then they look into later records in school and they're like, oh, sudden dip, suspensions, fights, expulsion, longtime girlfriend, Heather Barnes, ? And then they look into Heather Barnes and they're like, oh, she was at the boat party. She survived. And so that's the new information that they learn. And so at this point, I believe, is when Zachary attacks.
I think initially they believe Heather to be dead for some reason. I can't remember how they get to that conclusion. Because when Zachary attacks Cassie and they're like, oh my gosh, okay, let's go save her. And Faye's like, we're all here. What can we do? We're at full strength, right? And then they go and they do that CW magic. It's wind. It's telekinesis. The lockers are opening.
Not great.
There's thunder outside. For a bunch of beginners, it's fine.
The setup shot of it with the 6 of them lined up, but the magic is very lackluster, unfortunately. But yeah, they overwhelm Zachary. He's cowed on the floor. Papers are flying everywhere like it's the climax of Mean Girls. And they're like, what the hell do you want from us? Why do you hate my mother? Cassie says. And he's like, what your mother did to Heather was so much worse than death. And it's like, oh.
It's because Diana's like,
okay.
we're sorry Heather died, but it's not our fault. And he's like, Heather didn't die. What Amelia did to her was far worse. And it's like, oh.
Based on what, girl? But yeah, it's like far worse than death. What the hell? And why would Amelia, who we seem to believe is a pretty chill and cool woman, have done something this horrible to someone who was maybe her friend? And so that's kind of like a new conflict for Cassie going forward of like, did I really know my mother at all? First of all, she's a witch and now she's bad? Oh no. And they knock him the hell out with their magic. Then they're like, we gotta figure this out. And Dawn Chamberlain comes upon them and they lie their asses off. Wildly unbelievably, but of course because Dawn is doing like a tandem lie on her side, she has to pretend she believes them.
The lie was so
crazy. The secret circle is the circle of insane lies that the people spin in this show.
Because they're like, I think they're like, yeah, he was chasing after us because we saw him breaking into the lockers, and then the next person's like, yeah, and then we threatened to call the police, and then Adam is like, yeah, and then he started chasing after us. I was like, Adam, we just already said he was
already
chasing
said
after us.
And then they go, we don't know why the place is messed up. We found it like this. He was already messing the place up. It's like, huh? Then why was he chasing y'all? Nonsense.
I guess because they threatened to call the police. And then Miss Dawn Chamberlain is like, I know this man. He's an addict. He's been breaking into the school for years. And I'm like, obviously she knows they're lying. And she's like, I'm going to pretend I believe this nonsense. But I'm like, why don't they know that she's lying?
Because what?
Because they know he's not an addict. They know he just got back into town now.
Adam knows
to them.
that he's not often in town. Zachary says this when he comes to the diner. Why would you ever believe this? Nonsense. Anyway, they leave him in the capable hands of Principal Dawn Chamberlain. She says, I'll sort this out. And the way she sorts it out is she has Charles put him in her boot. They drive him to the edge of town. And she wipes some blood on his forehead and casts a spell and says, I'm a Lockwood bitch. You've been marked. If you come anywhere near our children again, I'll know and I'll kill you. And it's like, why not just kill him then? Seems like it'll save you a lot of trouble and uncertainty.
She's trying to stay her hand. She's like, there's already 2 bodies. I don't want
between
to stack them
this
up.
Guy and her father-in-law, who's the one who's gonna be missed? If I'm the villain of the show, I kill this guy before I kill my father-in-law.
She's like, I could excuse murdering the grandfather of my child, who my child quite loves, but I draw the line at murdering fishermen.
She has a code, and the code respects the noble fishermen of the Pacific Northwest. They do a great service. And I respect that.
You know what? She's actually woke. She doesn't murder working class individuals who are just trying to get by.
So true. She is an ally to the proletariat, in fact. So they do that while the circle returns to their respective homes, I guess, being like, well, that was crazy. Now what?
And Luke, poor Luke, being like, actually, no, Cassie, I'm not going to hang with you again. I'm actually a pretty good guy and you didn't give me a chance. But, you know, good luck booking that Adam stage of which you shipped.
He said, I'm a catch, and I'm happy to go find someone who appreciates that. Good evening, my lady, and walks off. And I would really love this character if I didn't immediately remember some detail about him that's gonna come up in the next episode.
Oh, no!
Did you not? I'm sorry, I shouldn't spoil in case you don't remember.
I do not
lip seal.
recall.
But, yeah, that's about all that I think matters for this episode, but there's just the open question of Heather Barnes. What the hell happened to her and where is she now? Which I guess segues us nicely into episode 4, named Heather. Let's see. I guess at this point they decide to actually try and find Heather Barnes.
Yes.
I can't remember if they do so through the records. That'd be crazy. It wouldn't still be the same address, surely. But they find it some which way.
Yeah, Cassie does some sleuthing and is like, oh, I'm going to go to this, I guess, a nearby town or something to find her. And she tells Diana and Adam where she's going. And Adam's like, no, that's a sketchy area. No, you shouldn't go alone. And I'm like, of course you're going to say that. And then Diana, Queen of Confidence, is like, no, I have stuff to do. So yeah, Adam, please go with her. And I'm like, oh, okay. She's fully in this thing of I'm choosing to trust you both.
As hell.
Her mistake.
I mean, never her mistake. Always the cheaters. So Adam and Cassie are off doing that. Diana doesn't really have anything active going on, but she'll come back a little bit later. Faye also floating a bit. Mostly being snide to Melissa like it's her day job. Melissa's storyline is still Nick. And to be fair, Nick's storyline is still Melissa, kind of. Because post the dance, which he did show up to in a nice little shirt, they've been becoming like kind of intimate and involved now. But now it's like, ooh, here he is talking to other women. Can't have that. That's not how heterosexual relationships work. And so...
Which Faye sets up.
Right.
Just like, Faye, why are you like this? Faye being... Because I think Faye gets to wherever it is that Melissa is sitting, whatever cafe or whatever. And I actually, when I watched the scene, I went back and rewinded and watched the scene. And I was like, you can see Phoebe Tonkin's eyes move to the side to show that she is looking at something outside the window. Yeah. And then she's...
it's on purpose.
And then she sits down. It's like, hey, Melissa. And Melissa's like, yeah, I'm meeting up with Nick, but I'm early. And then they talk for a bit.
Because at this point, she has told Faye that she's into Nick. Or Faye has clocked it and has tried to be like nasty about it. And Melissa's like, actually, I don't care what you think because I'm my own person. And I do like Nick and I'm going to try and date him. And Faye's like, well, that's dumb. Good luck with that. And that's how we get to this cafe moment.
Yes. And then she's like, oh, looks like Nick got here early too. And then we see Melissa look outside. Nick is talking to some girl with the flirty energy he always has. She immediately knows that Faye did this on purpose. And she's like, you're a bitch.
I like that she immediately is like, that was on purpose and calculated. Get the hell out. God, with friends like these. And it was, the thing too is that like the scene is set up as like Faye is apologizing and coming around. She's willing to give this a chance. And she immediately shits all over Melissa. And it's just like, okay, well. But of course the worm burrows itself into Melissa's mind and now she's doubting Nick. And the minute Nick gets into the cafe, she's being like absolutely like, yeah, why don't you go run and tell your little girlfriend? And then leaves the cafe and it's like, okay, well. Over right before it starts.
You said something so unintentionally foreshadowing just then.
What do you said? First of all, these racist demons, but we'll get to it.
We'll get to it.
So, Adam and Cassie go to this truly dilapidated place and speak to a man named Wade Barnes or something. I honestly can't remember his name. They're like, yeah, my mom was friends with Heather Barnes. Is she here? We'd like to speak to her. And he's like, no. And they're like, I think Heather can decide that for herself. Thank you very much. And he's like, okay, let's see that happen. Walks them into a house. to find a catatonic Heather Barnes sitting in a chair as she has done for 16 years and said, I'm sorry, you teens thought you were going to outwoke me? How do you feel now?
Outwoke me.
You thought I was being an overbearing patriarchal brother? She literally cannot speak, so ball's in your court. It's an awful situation. I just have to laugh.
Yeah. And now we're like, oh, she's catatonic? Is this the fate worse than death that Amelia inflicted on her? Why would she do that?
Why would she do this? Why in the middle of a boat fire that claimed all their lives would she go, and I curse my friend to be catatonic forever? So many questions. And you know who's not asking enough questions? Cassie Blake, who sees a marking on Miss Ma'am's hand and goes, that must be how it happened. I need to reverse it. Knowing nothing about what that symbol means, what kind of magic it is, what it does. She just goes, well, I saw this in my Book of Shadows. By the way, reveal, Adam, I have my Book of Shadows. Isn't this great? And I saw the symbol in the book, and I know how to undo it because there's an arrow pointing to a wall of text right next to it, and that must be the solution.
I think
No further questions.
Heather also lunges at Cassie and reacts to her presence there, which everyone's like, why you? Her brother's like, she hasn't moved in over a decade. What is it about you that triggered that? So maybe she was feeling like, yeah, it's a sign.
But yeah, they bring this to, well, no, they don't bring this to. Adam informs Diana, and Diana comes over and says, hey, Cassie, Adam told me about what's been going on. She comes in at a moment where they are very close together, as they often are.
Once again, standing 1 centimeter apart while casting a spell.
And she's like, oh, hi, guys. And they're like, hey. And he walks over to her and I think gives her a smooch. And it's like, nice save, Adam. Nice cover. She's like, yeah, this magic is unknown to us. I don't think it is advisable to just start doing spells that we don't understand, that we have only encountered now in a Book of Shadows you didn't tell us about, Cassie. This is risky as hell. And I think we need to wait and get more information. And Cassie goes, how about I do it now without thinking about all that bullshit? And Diana says, no. Adam, tell her it's silly. And Adam goes, and Diana's like, well, all right, I'm leaving. And they go.
I do like that Adam acquiesces, even if reluctantly. I'm like, yeah, we know who the dominant one in this relationship is. You are her sub, and she told you no. Now leave.
There's something, her hand is always flexing for an implement that should be there but isn't because we're on a CW show. But yeah, Cassie goes off, frustrated that she wants to do this spell and she can't do it alone. And who has shared a similar frustration within the last couple of days but our very own Faye Chamberlain, who the story conveniently pushes into Cassie's path.
You know, because Cassie doesn't even go to her. Faye just shows up, like, in the hallway or something, and it's like, hey, girl, hey.
Hey, girl, hey. I'm just hanging out because I've pissed off my friend and I have nothing to do. What's going on with you? Cassie's like, ugh, Diana won't let me do the spell. And Faye said, a spell? Say no more. Point me in the direction. Why aren't we better friends, Cassie? That's kind of weird, which I thought was insane to say when she has been
why aren't we better
but
friends?
antagonistic to this girl from moment one.
I would be like, Faye, do you want a list? Number one, you have been hostile to me since day one. Number two, you tried to push me into getting your sort of friend to cheat on his girlfriend, but also did so by giving me a backhanded compliment, saying that he likes the sad, delicate type. Number three, I know who your best friend is, and you treat her like dirt.
Right.
Why would I want to be involved in anything like that?
Why would I ever want to be involved with you? But unfortunately, out of necessity, Cass is like, god damn it, I do need one other witch. And Faye's like, well, I wouldn't do it for free, of course. I see you have a nice little Book of Shadows there.
Oh.
Queen Diana won't let me read hers. So, if you give me a little peek, then I'll help you out.
Her eyes turned into little heart signs, and she was like, a Book of Shadows? The only reason Diana is our de facto leader is because she's the only one who's been able to find her family's one. Oh, yes. Okay, I like you now. Have I ever told you how beautiful you are, Cassie?
Now you're my friend, girl. What up? Cassie, my homegirl. Cassie Blakeyana. I love you down boots. It's like, wow. So the two pair up, and I do at least appreciate this. I like that. How do I say this in a way that doesn't sound disparaging? Cassie's not nice, right? She's kind. She's not nice. Mm-hmm. She's kind of got a mildly acerbic quality about her, but like not out of malice. It's just like she was a loner for however long, and she's not used to like socially like having to speak to people. So her interactions with some of the people is always like, it's a bit of sarcasm, it's a bit of like flat affect. Maybe Sally, it's like the one person where it's like some nice interactions. Diana, partly because of guilt. But like there's an acerbic quality to her that I think pairs well with Faye's like overt, outright bitchiness.
Yeah.
That I'm just like, they would make an interesting pair if they were to align their goals a little bit. But the thing is, it is very difficult to align with Faye Chamberlain because Faye Chamberlain doesn't align. It's the problem here.
It's the Valerie and Nora problem.
Right, exactly. I need the two queens to maximize their joint slay. That's all I'm saying. Mm-hmm. So they learned the incantation in the Book of Shadows. Adam had already made the poultice with Cassie. It was the cheating magic that Diana walked in. They made a little salve that's meant to be rubbed on the mark. So she goes with the salve and with Faye. They sneak into Mr. Barnes' house while he's gone out, I don't know, ranching or truck driving or whatever he does. And they come to an unsuspecting unconscious Heather, rub some green juice on her little arm, and start casting maybe Latin over her. They do it like 3 times. Nothing happens, and they're like, oop, well, guess it didn't work. Oh no, Mr. Barnes is coming back. We need to jump out the window? Was it first floor?
I think they're on the first floor, but yeah, we see them seeing him come in. He enters the room being like, I sense that there was a presence in here. The window is open. And I'm like, you guys aren't vampires. How did you do this move? Because I know Stefan dived out of a hospital window to get away from Matt, but how did you guys do this?
Do it? A little magic. They force jumped. Air around me, grant me flight. Seems like a level 2 spell to me. So they escape and they're like, I don't know why it didn't work. And Cassie's very focused on this idea of like, my mom did this and I just want to undo the pain. It's my responsibility. And it's like, well, you know. Cut to Diana and Adam coming back to her because I think they went over to her place where she reads in her Book of Shadows and is like, I knew I recognized that symbol somewhere. Here's a page on the darkest, most evil magic known to our people. These are Ungelas marks or whatever they're called. They're so bad that we don't even consider it magic. We call it expression. Drawing on the darkest powers that cannot exist on this plane. She's like, I was correct, as I always am. We should have learned more, and now that I've learned more, there's no way we're gonna do this. And Adam's like, well, about that, I think maybe we should call Cassie, because I don't know if she's gonna hold up. She's like, okay, well, call her now. Tries to call her. At this point, Cassie and Faye are at Cassie's house because Faye is gone. I held up my end of the bargain. Now show me that book. And so Faye is upstairs in her room reading the book, even though Cassie has been like, that's enough now. And Cassie has come down to get snacks.
Yes, she was like, no carbs. And I was like, oh, 2011.
Oh, women should be skinny. And she comes downstairs, and this is when the episode becomes like a slasher or like a James Wan type horror, which I thought was kind of fun. There was something missing about it that kept it from being like proper, but I thought it was fun. The door swings open, wind howling. It's like, hello, what's happening? We of course know what's happened because we saw Heather Barnes leap out of her chair at her home and push her brother through a wall, knocking him out, and then jump over him and escape their home. So we know she's on the prowl. At some point, Cassie turns to look towards the kitchen area, and there's Heather scratching her arm like an addict, going, Amelia. And Cassie's like, sorry, girl, she's dead. And Heather starts sobbing. Come to find, through some very broken communication, bless her, she's been catatonic for 16 years, Amelia apparently did this to help Heather. Somehow, maybe at the boat fire, something happened that resulted in a demon or multiple demons getting into Heather. Amelia tried everything she could to get them out, but couldn't, and so resolved to sealing them into Heather's body and turning her catatonic, which at the very least kept them stored and kept the pain of that experience away from Heather. So that's why she was in that state. Amelia's still chill and cool. We love to see it. However, Cassie has now undone this, which means Heather's in pain again, and the demons are about to get out. Something that nobody vocalizes, right? I was very confused by the fact that at no point since learning that information from Heather does anyone go, well, if the seal was keeping the demons in, where are the demons now? No questions. It then becomes an intercutting sequence of like Heather trying to divulge this information to Cassie and then becoming a horror contortionist for like a sequence where she chases Cassie around the house, which again I think is very cool. And Adam's trying to call Cassie. Her phone is upstairs with Faye. Faye looks at the phone and rolls her eyes and keeps reading the Book of Shadows. He calls the second time, and then she picks up and does this pointless bit about Adam being a lover boy. She's pretending to be Cassie, being like, oh, speak to me in your sweet little voice. It's like, Faye, people are dying. My God. Faye comes downstairs to find Cassie, doesn't see her. Contortionista Heather comes after Faye. Faye runs, instead of going to the door, up the stairs, truly slasher energy. This is how you know Kevin Williamson is behind the show. Upstairs to be trapped on the second floor. Heather leaps up from the first floor over the balcony onto the second floor and blocks her path. So chilling. Her face is like gray. Her expression is blank. She is a demon incarnate. I don't know how Faye gets past her. She gets into the room. In the room, she's trying to like get out the window. Just so happens Nick and Melissa, who I guess at some point in the episode made up, are like getting hot and heavy across the way. And thankfully Melissa sees through the window that Faye is screaming and trying to get out of
I think I think Nick and Melissa had a conversation about what was going on, and he was like, no, I was just talking to her. I can't talk to a girl now. And I guess Melissa was like, okay, yeah, I was wrong. You're allowed to talk to girls. It's fine.
Which I mean, like he does say that like, or she says that like technically we're not in a relationship, so like this is a weird thing to be upset about. And I'm like, yeah, kinda. You guys need to define the relationship before you actually like go into the questions of what is exclusivity and what are the boundaries and what is cheating. Like, can you be cheating if you're not boyfriend girlfriend? I don't know, but it is 2011 2012, so you know, what are you gonna do? Is that anti-feminist of me to say? I don't know.
No, I don't think so. I think regardless of gender, it's like you aren't in a relationship that's like official, and therefore it can't be exclusive, or at least you have not stated your exclusivity. And if you haven't stated it, then
yeah, like the conversation needs to happen, I feel like, and it hadn't happened, you know. So
yeah,
whatever. Anyway,
Nick and Melissa see her through, I guess, what's the name's window? The infamous window.
Cassie's window, which Faye's trying to break out of, yes. And instead of using their magic to open the window, they run downstairs in Nick's house to then go across the street.
I was like, why are you don't know any slow fall spells or like quickly just a little bit of wind under your feet to carry you in a leap across?
You can't do a super jump across the windows. It's not a long jump, I'm gonna be honest. It's very Peter Parker and Mary Jane in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. And we've seen that they can modus in this world. Faye did it accidentally to Logan Browning, so maybe an intentional modus. Anyway, they run downstairs and across the road to try and help. I think Nick grabs Heather off of someone and throws her one side, and she eventually gives up the game and goes out into the road. And then they run after her to be like, Heather, please, you're not yourself. And she gets rammed into by an SUV just as her brother shows up to be like, Heather, please, my sister.
Is that all before Adam and Diana show up?
I don't remember. What do Adam and Diana?
I can't remember. I know at one point someone is downstairs with Cassie, and it might have been Diana and Adam. Heather displays the ability to turn off the lights, because as they look for her, like the lights go off and it's like, oh no.
Right. She's got like full Spectre powers at this point. It is a really haunting portrait they're painting here. But yes, they are all there when she runs out into the night, and then her brother calls out for her, and then she gets completely creamed by an SUV. Poor man steps out and is like, she just jumped in front of me.
And unlike Alaric Saltzman, she doesn't have a resurrection Gilbert ring. So it's quite horrible. And her brother, he falls to his knees on the side of the road. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah, it's really sad. He was just the guy who wanted to protect his sister, and now she was gone. He does afterwards say, she's at peace now, and I'm like, yeah, but you're not. This is gonna suck for you. But a bunch of emergency personnel come by. Nobody's asking any questions about what this woman was doing in this house, or has any suspicions about the 16s gathered there. But it is a TV show, so what are you gonna do? Just then, out of the wounds that she incurred throughout the kerfuffle, slowly, sultrily, silkily slithering, this wormy black substance starts snaking out of her across the road onto a jacket being held by Mr. Nick Armstrong. And it's like, oh, what's that about? Is that the demon? I guess so. And certainly Diana, when she was reading about the Ungalas marks, I really need to go and find out what that was called. She was like, it's all about using insects and worms and bugs and stuff
snakes,
as vessels for power. And I was like, that is a really cool description. I wish the magic in this show matched up to like the vibe that they're trying to get to.
Yeah, I was curious about that. I was like,
sounds like
is the demon just the vessel of all this dark power, or are demons only able to exist physically when you stick them inside a bug or a snake? Like, what are we saying?
I need details, you know? I want the Book of Shadows. Explain the process.
Is the demon in the wormy thing and then in the person? Like it's Russian nesting dolls?
Right, exactly. Like it must be within the worm to be contained and to manifest in our real world and then to infest. Questions. But it ends up on Nick's jacket. And then a bunch of denouement stuff happens. Cassie's like, my mom was chill after all. I guess it's fine. All these kids are very chill about someone having died here. Diana's like, this is why we need to read up more, or else we end up with situations like this. Like, sorry to you, Cassie. I'm not like blaming you or anything, but it's crazy you did that and we need to be more responsible. Which is fair, I think. Faye to Melissa is like, hey, I can give you a ride home. And Melissa's like, no thanks, and leaves with Nick. And again, fair, I think. Then Adam and Diana go home, but Adam circles back later in the night to come sit with Cassie.
Insane. He's like, yeah, I just wanted to come check up on you, help you clean up the mess in your little haunted house. And it's like, okay, you could have done that while Diana was here. Many hands make light work, Adam.
In fact, why didn't you wrap up the whole circle into doing it? Could have been a nice bonding moment, you know?
Nick and Melissa are right next door, about to hook up again.
You could go now before they get too involved and say, hey guys, I know you're busy, but just maybe half an hour of your time. Speaking of Nick and Melissa, in rare form, choose to sleep after this ordeal, get their 8 hours. Does this slithering, snaking thing come out of Nick's jacket, crawl over and past Nick and onto Melissa, and crawl into her ear canal? Because apparently this demon had a target in mind and was aware enough to make that decision. You know? I'm just saying the extra 2 feet of movement as a small creature has to be intentional. And that gums my gears a bit. Guess it's a demon from the 1600s. I don't know.
It's a demon who is an insecure heterosexual male demon and was like, I can't possess a man that's gay for me to be inside a man, so I have to go for the nearest woman. No homo.
No homo. But yeah, that is the present concern and danger now, is that there is a slithering worm in Melissa, no surname because they still haven't told us it.
Melissa Nora West Allen. That's her name.
I forgot she's Nora West Allen. Oh, bless her. Jessica Parker Kennedy. I wish you weren't a Zionist girl. You have so much power in your hands.
You and your bisexual husband. Ugh, such a disappointment.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything else to say about this episode in particular, but yeah, this is the most exciting one of the 4 so far. It's the most things has been happening in the episode. The most plot relevant stuff has transpired. We still don't know what happened with this damn boat fire that was bad enough that they stripped the circle of their magic and 6 people died. 7 people, I guess. But, still 18 episodes left.
I do like that the lore gets expanded somewhat in the sense of, oh, what creatures exist in this world? Because in TVD, we basically get through all of season 1 and it's just vampires and the one witch in town whose grandmother has recently died and her ancestor Emily. And here it's like episode 4, there's demons. And it's like, oh, cool. There were no demons in Mystic Falls. What could have been? What would have been on the other side if this show had continued and they'd been in a shared universe? I think we have the arbitrary skepticism where some or other character, once they find out what's going on, they're like, demons exist? That's crazy. And I'm like, witches exist. I don't think it's that crazy for demons to exist.
I think if witches are involved, especially, well, I mean, here we're in Chance Harbor, but in the books they are in New Salem, quote unquote.
Yes, which I guess
I'm not sure where. It feels like that's New Englandy. So I'm like, demons kind of make sense considering.
I love that they felt that name was too on the nose. They were like, Fells Church sounds boring, so we're calling it Mystic Falls. New Salem is stupid, so we're calling it Chance Harbor.
Completely abandoned it. We're going across the country. We're calling it Chance Harbor, a normal name. But yeah, the demons, I mean, it's set up by Amelia in episode 1. She says dark forces will come for the power you hold. Be careful. So it's stands to reason.
I don't have any more thoughts except that Cassie and Adam, girl.
I mean, okay. So
are you even trying?
So based on, because we've gotten the sense. Well, I don't know if at this stage we're supposed to take Ethan Conant's words seriously, right? Because he said that thing in episode 1 and episode 2 about their families being written in the stars. So if we are to believe that there is some sort of magical connection happening here, can we blame them as much for this emotional affair that they are having?
I'm like, I don't know, babe. Try to stay away from each other then. Cassie was initially trying to do that pre-circle binding. And now it's like, oh, well, I will willfully be in situations where it's just the two of us, even though we clearly can't keep our hands to ourselves. Hashtag Selena Gomez. And Diana, being the most secure woman in the world, is like, yeah, go off, be alone for an hour or so while you do some magical research. And I'm like, girl. All right.
It gets to a point, Diana. It gets to a point where it's willful delusion.
Unless your theory is true, where she's like, listen, I want them to get together
so
that we can all be at the round.
She's in fact getting her two prospects used to each other so that she can float the idea. I respect her efforts. Excited to get into 5 and 6, especially because I remember what 5 is about. And all I'll say is it is a very important episode. But until then, thank you for listening. If you have any questions, thoughts, or just want to say hi, you can mail us at animalattackpod@gmail.com. You can also tweet us at animattackpod. That's at ANIM attack pod. You'll find a link tree in our bio that has all our online stuff. From us, it's hello demons, goodbye fidelity, la da 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 da. We'll see you next week. Cheers.
Bye.